Hello and welcome. After understanding the image sensor, we will understand what an image processor is and how much it's important in camera and lens buying. Together, the image sensor and the processor are the most vital component in the camera. These two components can determine the final outcome of any camera in many ways. If the image sensor and processor is not up to the mark, the camera will fail to deliver promising results. But how? To understand it, we need to understand the processor a bit. Let's understand the processor. You can imagine the image processor as the brain of the camera. It is explicitly connected to almost everything in camera performance. Once the sensor captures the reflected light through the refraction of glass elements and converts them into digital signals, the immediate task of the processor is to collect those signals and rearrange them in proper order to create the digital photograph accurately. Thereby, the speed of the processor and capacity to manage data matter the most. As the sensor converts the physical light into digital data, so the architecture and quality of the processor determine the amount of data it can handle and the quality of the final outcome as well. If the processor is unstable, it may impact the entire image reproduction system in many ways, like it may not provide a good amount of frame rates, what we call burst rate or drive speed. It may provide unstable ISO performance and also inaccurate autofocusing and image stabilization as well. However, there are many other operations where the camera processor is directly involved, but these are the most important to understand as a camera and lens buyer. Let's understand the frame rate or burst rate of the camera and how it is dependent on the processing speed. The burst rate is the capacity of the camera shutter to capture moments per second. In the shutter plate chapter, we have already understood that a good quality mechanical shutter can provide faster frames per second, but a good quality shutter can even fail to provide a standard burst rate if the processor is not up to the mark. Let's understand it comprehensively. Whenever we press the shutter button, the camera recreates a moment or an image. That image or photograph is nothing but a digital data. As I already described, suppose a camera creates an image of 20 megabytes. Now, if the processor can handle a maximum of 60 megabytes of data per second, the amount of pictures it can handle per second is 3 only. Just compare the processor with a simple pen drive. If you have an 8 GB pen drive, it will not be able to store data beyond that at once. To store fresh data, you have to remove something first, as the storage can store 8 GB maximum. However, the actual process of data handling is much more complex than this. To teach the concept to everyone, I have demonstrated it in this simple manner. The processor is also responsible for the speed of data handling. You can also relate this concept with a pen drive. The processor architecture and its different properties control the performance of the processor. In the performance chapter, we will explain this topic further. Now we will get some additional idea of the processor performance of the camera. Thank you.